Good morning, everyone. Today we are covering artificial intelligence scams. So, AI is often the abbreviation for that. And so, AI is the use of technology to clone voices and images and can be used in a lot of useful ways, but also can be used by scammers to try to convince people out of their money or personal information. Oftentimes, they use that AI to clone voices or images, especially of people's family or friends or trusted officials. We've seen this already with political figures as well as celebrities. Um, Sometimes they're called deep fakes, and they can be videos, they can be photos, they can be audio, and it's a way of manipulating recorded voices or images to create somebody to say or do whatever you want them to do, which can be a really scary process with that. Oftentimes, when we're seeing this with scams, particularly, it's getting phone calls of someone who sounds like a family member or another friend or someone that you know and care about. And it can sound like they're in trouble or they're in danger. Frequent ones that we're hearing about are like kidnapping scams that you get a call, especially they try to do it late at night because they know you're going to be caught off guard. You're going to recognize the voice. They may spoof somebody's phone number and they'll say, oh, this person is in jail, or this person is in the hospital after a car accident, or they've been kidnapped, or things like that. And you have to talk to somebody else other than the person that you know in order to get that paid and taken care of. Um, and so they might be screaming, there might be other foul language or things like that to try to catch you off guard, make you feel anxious, make you feel worried about the person you care about, so that you're not thinking through the situation and you go ahead and give them that money. And that sound or that voice can be pulled from any recording. So many of us have social media or pieces like that. Your voice can be pulled off of any of those types of pages, whether it's a video or things like that, as well as if you get a random scam phone call. They might say, "Can you hear me?" And you say, "Yes." They might be able to say that, save that recording and use that when they're trying to impersonate you towards your bank or towards another um, place to try to get that information, or to another family member or friend. It's a really scary process, but it's something that we can be more aware of and prevent. So I want you all to take a look at these 6 photos. They all look like pretty normal people. However, there's some AI images in here. Give you a second to look over those, see if you can spot any features that might um, make you think twice about the person's face and if they're actually AI or not. All right, so now if you can kind of pick out which of the 6 you think it is, actually all 6 are AI photos. If you look a little closely, you can see the hair or maybe their ears or some features are just a little bit off, but all 6 of these faces are AI generated. So it can be very easy for a photo of a real person or a not real person to show up on social media. It might look like a normal person or sound like a normal person, but it could totally be AI as well. So, what's coming next with AI? As you hear on the news all the time, it's an up and coming industry. There's a lot of changes and ways that AI is being used. One to be aware of is to watch out for recordings at home. So, Amazon and its Alexa feature, this is something Apple and some of the other Google and some of the other major home smart home devices are looking at, are allowing Alexa to record a small amount of speech, and then it can be programmed to have Alexa talk as a relative or as somebody that you want them to sound like. We've already had that with celebrity voices, but this could be a grandparent or another relative, which in theory sounds kind of cute. You can have grandma read a story to a grandchild, even if though she's not there. However, that means that Amazon has your voice and has it recorded and ready to go to be used in one of these things. And we've seen a lot of hacks going, especially with major businesses and security breaches. So, in addition to your account information or your personal data, they could also take your voice recording as well. And that could be at risk of being used in a scam call as well. So, what can we do to prevent an AI scam happening to us? First, change your voicemail to something generic. I know, especially from the early 2000s and the 90s, it was a big thing to have a really fun voicemail or something that would be professional. It's okay to make it generic and have it be what your phone service has already set up. It's not, if somebody really wants to get in touch with you, they'll leave a voicemail anyway. Um, be quiet when answering those unknown phone calls. I mean, most of us screen those out to start out with, but just listen a little bit because if somebody is using that AI voice in there, there might be some weird background noise or they won't press play until they hear you start responding. And then finally, making a family password. So this is something, especially if you get together for the holidays or a birthday, especially with older relatives, to have a family password in place so that if you do have a scary phone call in the middle of the night or something like that that comes up, that you know you can verify that this person is actually that family member if you don't feel comfortable getting off the phone and calling that person directly. So this can be something as simple as food. You could say, "Hey, did you pick up oatmeal from the grocery store?" And they can say, "Yeah, I picked up the oatmeal." That could be a way for them to have that information in place, or have a specific phrase like, um, "I went and washed the dog today," or something like that. It can be silly, it can be simple, but just something that everybody in your family knows so that if you do get one of those scary calls that's like, oh, this person's in jail or this person's been in a car accident, you can say, "Hey, can you tell me about when Aunt Susie got married?" Or things like that, that things that person would know that the scammer wouldn't know. And that way you can verify that that person is actually who you think you're talking to. And then the same goes with being mindful about where you're putting your voice and face out online, making sure your social media has good security settings on it. You can always go into your settings and adjust those to where you feel most comfortable, um, and being mindful about what you're putting out there online. Thank you again for joining us today as we talked about the AI scams. Next week, we are talking about romance scams and online shopping scams, and we look forward to seeing you then.